The Cyrolith System, a planetary essay by Scale, with much assistance from Tobias Rickel. The outer system here is fairly empty, save for a few naturally occurring planets and the asteroid belt that divides itself and the inner system. The inner system, on the other hand, is quite populated primarily by the planet Cyrolith, of which the star and system is named. The planet of which the focus of this system attracts is Cyrolith. Sitting at a 1.2 on the gravitational scale, Cyrolith is tad stronger in mass and therefore gravitational pull than some of the other worlds in the Unimos. Furthermore, more about Cyrolith is different than is similar to the other worlds in the Unimos. I am convinced that this planet, at the beginning of its life, did not have any plate tectonics. Indeed, when this planet was created, many pieces of land were taken from other planets and were pushed, then fused together, making a large amalgamation with pieces from all over the Unimos. It is only logical that Relas, the creator of Cyrolith, who was born from the remnants of the other ascendants, should use this same method to create his system of residence. Because of this, you will find a grand variety in the types of landscapes across the planet that have no natural explanation of its presence. For example, not 100 miles south of the lush rainforest region surrounding Avian City on Cyrolith, you will find a massive mesa desert with little to none of the green fertility you will find up north. A perk of such a massive variety of habitats and regions is the ability to harbor countless and various species of flora and fauna. Cyrolith is home to such a grand variety of species and sapient life unmatched by any other planet seen in the Unimos. Indeed, I could fill a wealth of scholarly studies and essays on the biology in this system alone. As mentioned before, the fusing and illogical placements of the biomes and regions of this world causes some inconsistencies. For example, instead of a cold and desolate landscape due to its location near the northern pole of the globe, the region of Avian City is lush and filled with fertile land with temperatures that should not be possible. The explanation for this is the emittance of relar, in its gaseous form from Jalmor's perpendicularity, which flows out of the roots, branches, and leaves of Alvora. This gaseous relar collects and flows into the magically invested storm that sweeps across the nearby region. This storm carries invested precipitation that acts as a kind of arcane fertilizer. As the storm makes its way across the landscape, it rains down water and liquid relar that, once making contact with soil, fertilizes it magically. As a secondary feature of this storm, it spreads the gaseous relar, which heats up the surrounding air molecules. I believe the compensation of gaseous relar is one among many intentional designs by Relas and his divinators, specifically Jalmor, whose perpendicularity is present under Alvora. Yes, most of these anomalies seem to benefit the life and prosperity of Cyrolith, which leads me to believe it was intentional design by this world's creators. Another important note to make regarding the history and events of this world is that though Relas created Cyrolith, he also created 8 beings to assist him in preparing the world for sapient life. History. These beings were born from the same arcana that created Relas. They swore loyalty to him, and they became the first people to soulbind to Relas. Contrary to what is generally understood, binding to Relas seems to grant access to many of the powers of ascendancy. I believe this is due to the fact that Relas has such a low number of beings binded to him. His power is only divided unto 8 people compared to the potential millions of people who have access to Ducanum. Perhaps that is an unfair comparison, considering the only way to access Ducanum is through binding the splinters of Corin, compared to spellcasting on Cyrolith, in which, during the majority of its life, all you needed to spellcast was to know how. The dominion over the Cyrolith system is a topic I am not fully suited to cover. Better to consult one of my colleagues who specialize in Unimos history rather than a simple arcanist. But it is important to note that the ascendant of Cyrolith has changed a few times, causing system-wide changes. One of these changes is the amount of planets in the system. Indeed, this change was due to a large-scale cataclysm, wherein Cyrolith was literally divided. Yes, once again, the Unimos proves that the death of a god, even if not a complete death, is quite spectacular. In this case, I believe that the intention of the divinators was indeed to murder Relas, but things did not go as planned. Rather than killing Relas by fracturing his soul, they accidentally fractured the Ascendant Arcana. Not only did the arcana fracture into 8 fragments, but the very fabric of reality with it, duplicating, then splitting the mass of the planet equally into 8 new planets, and mirroring many of the continents and features seen on Cyrolith. This is the origins of the perpendicularity known as the Scar of the World, as well as the 8 new celestial bodies that appeared in the sky. Note: while I cannot confirm said hypothesis, I think the Scar of the World is more similar to the Dawn Eye of the Dawn Earth than any of the other perpendicularities seen across the Unimos. It is closer to a crack in the fabric of all 3 realities than a point of friction. Despite the 9 separate physical celestial bodies, the arcanic realm stayed the same. It is also important to note that the Scar of the World appeared on all 8 of the new planets. This event is also the cause of many of the major kingdoms and cities disappearing. Some were moved from Cyrolith to another planet. This loss of a good amount of civilization also meant loss of records and information over the previous 1,500 years of history. This fortunately also meant that most information of the rest of the Unimos was lost from everyone except those who were voyagers.